The brutal murder of rising rapper Lil Ronnie has sent shockwaves through the black community and the music industry. Just a week ago, he was a promising young talent, celebrated for his music and seen as a beacon of hope for many. However, his tragic fate now places him among other slain rappers like King Von and Nipsey Hussle, both of whom were also gunned down in acts of senseless violence. Lil Ronnie's murder is not just an isolated crime but rather a reflection of a deep-seated issue within certain communities where minor disputes spiral into fatal confrontations. In Atlanta's black community, gang rivalries have become an unfortunate and devastating norm. Small conflicts that could otherwise be resolved peacefully often escalate into matters of life and death. These grudges, once formed, fester over time and eventually erupt into violence, leaving behind a trail of grief, broken families, and shattered dreams. Gang wars have turned into an unending cycle of bloodshed, with each killing making headlines only to be forgotten when another murder takes place. Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, the harsh reality remains that no government, no matter how technologically advanced, can fully predict or prevent these crimes. The streets operate on their own brutal rules, and no one knows where or when the next tragedy will unfold. What makes this situation even more distressing is that this violence is not coming from external forces, it is self-inflicted. The black community is suffering at its own hands, with young men killing their peers over power, envy, or petty disputes. Lil Ronnie's murder in Forest Hill is yet another reminder of how tragically common this has become. This act of violence is not just the loss of one individual but a devastating blow to a community that continues to struggle with internal conflicts. Authorities have uncovered some chilling details about Lil Ronnie's murder. One particularly disturbing fact is the age of the killers. One was 21, the other 23. These are not men hardened by decades of crime but young individuals who should have had their entire lives ahead of them. Even more horrifying is that this was not their first violent act. Both had already served time for previous crimes, indicating a cycle of incarceration and reoffending that plagues the justice system. In America, individuals are considered children until they reach the age of 18, yet within certain communities, criminal influences appear to reach them much earlier. Instead of being guided toward careers and education, many young men find themselves pulled into the world of crime, almost as if it were an inevitable path. An alarming trend within Atlanta's black community is the way crime is often linked to status and recognition. Some individuals resort to committing crimes simply to gain notoriety. This distorted sense of achievement is fueled by social media and the way violent acts are sensationalized in music and entertainment. For many, infamy is just as desirable as fame. While in mainstream America, young people focus on personal relationships, education, and career growth, in certain parts of Atlanta, some youth spend the same amount of time engaging in illegal activities, getting arrested, serving time, and re-entering society, only to repeat the process. The manner in which Lil Ronnie was killed is equally chilling. His murder was not a random act of violence but a calculated execution. The location in Texas where he was targeted was not chosen by chance, it was selected with precision to ensure he had no escape. When he saw his killers, he ran, desperate, frantic, trying to outrun the fate that had been decided for him. But no matter how fast he was, the setup had been too carefully planned. His escape route only led him right back to his pursuers. Without mercy, they shot him down in cold blood. Now, the question remains, where does Lil Ronnie rest? Heaven or hell? Only God knows. But one thing is certain. Aside from the cold gaze of CCTV cameras, only the divine was a witness to this crime. The police have arrested his killers, but the deeper issues at play remain unresolved. As investigations continue, early findings suggest that Lil Ronnie was not involved in any criminal activity. He was an innocent man, an artist on the brink of success, possibly even on his way to becoming a millionaire. But could his financial rise have played a role in his murder? It is no secret that gangs within the black community closely monitor those who succeed. Extortion is a common tactic, and those who refuse to comply often pay with their lives. The idea that Lil Ronnie may have been killed for refusing to be exploited is a grim but plausible theory. Perhaps the most tragic element of this entire situation is the underlying culture of jealousy and resentment. Instead of celebrating each other's success, many within the community fall into the trap of envy and rivalry. A young black man making his way up is not seen as an inspiration but as a target. The materialistic mindset further fuels this animosity. Images of wealth, cash, and luxury lifestyle serve as both motivation and provocation. Every picture of a rapper flaunting money isn't just a statement of success, it's an invitation for both admiration and hate. Lil Ronnie's murder may have been the result of this toxic culture, where success often leads to a tragic downfall. The cycle of violence continues, and the question looms, when will it end? How many more promising young men will be cut down in their prime? How many more grieving mothers will have to bury their sons? The pain left behind by these murders is immeasurable, stretching across generations. It has been 6 years since Nipsey Hussle's murder, and his longtime partner Lauren London still grieves. She never remarried, never entered another public relationship, a testament to the deep, lasting scars left by such losses. When Nipsey was killed, the same questions were asked, the same outrage was expressed, and yet the killings continued. King Von was next. Now, Lil Ronnie. The pattern is painfully familiar, and without real intervention, it will only repeat itself. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear, this cycle of violence needs to end. If you have thoughts on this, share them in the comments. Spread the message. Awareness is the first step, and maybe, just maybe, if enough voices are raised, real change can begin. Police investigations so far indicate that Lil Ronnie had no connections to criminal activities. Authorities managed to apprehend his killers within hours, but several critical details remain undisclosed. As an up-and-coming millionaire, there is speculation that his refusal to pay extortion money may have led to his brutal murder. Criminal groups in certain black communities often target those who accumulate wealth, preying on their financial success. Another deeply concerning issue is the jealousy that runs rampant within these communities. Hard-earned success is not always celebrated, rather, it can become a reason for resentment and hostility. This toxic envy has resulted in countless violent deaths. Materialism has infiltrated the culture so profoundly that many rappers flaunt their wealth in staged photo shoots, clutching stacks of cash, smoking, or drinking to display their financial status. While this might attract admiration from some, it also fuels hatred and jealousy among others. It is entirely possible that Lil Ronnie's growing success placed him in the crosshairs of envious rivals, ultimately leading to his tragic demise. His music carried themes of courage and defiance, but when death approached, those words lost their meaning. Witnesses say he ran for his life, but the killers had already set the trap. The comparison to downtown Atlanta's infamous donkey races, where chili paste is applied to a donkey to make it run at high speed, may be crude, but it reflects the desperation in his final moments. However, no amount of running could save him that night. The bigger question remains, when will the cycle of violence end? How many more young black artists and promising talents must fall victim to senseless murders? How many more mothers will grieve over their lost children? The murder of Nipsey Hussle left his girlfriend, Lauren London, in endless sorrow. Even after 6 years, she has not remarried or been seen with another partner. The emotional scars of losing someone to murder linger far longer than people realize. For some, healing happens swiftly, for others, the wounds never fully close. After Nipsey Hussle's murder, public outcry urged the government to take decisive action. His killer was arrested and sentenced, but soon after, rapper King Von met a similar fate. Before the community could recover from that loss, Lil Ronnie was added to the growing list of fallen artists. The cycle continues, leaving one to wonder how many more young black men will be lost to this relentless violence. Only time will reveal how many more tragedies the black community will have to endure. But the time for action is now. If you have an opinion, share it in the comments below and spread this message. Raising awareness might just be the key to forcing the government to implement stronger measures against crime. Change begins with awareness, and awareness begins with conversations like this.